Your personal brand isn't just a logo, a tagline, or a clever marketing hook. It's who you are at your core. It's how you think, it's how you make decisions, and it's how you show up in the world, both personally and professionally. And building a brand isn't just about a strategy, it's about alignment. And that requires something much deeper: self-awareness, resilience, and the willingness to grow and evolve. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a guru, but I am a builder. I've built two very successful businesses, worked through failure, I faced my own demons, and I'm still in the process. I'm still refining, I'm still evolving. So each week on the Branding Lab, I'm going to break down the lessons, the insights, and raw truths that shape not just great businesses, but great leaders. In this roughly 10 to 15 minute monologue, I'm going to share the stories and the insights of my own experience and the deep conversations with CEOs, founders, and thought leaders from all over the world. We're going to uncover the patterns, the decisions, and the shifts that separate those who grow from those who stay stuck. Because here's the honest truth: if you're not evolving, neither is your brand. So let's get into it.
I want to talk a little bit about my story and my journey from frustration and purpose as it pertains to my business and what I'm currently doing, and how I kind of got into this space in the first place, because it's probably worth knowing to sort of understand my matriculation process and my journey, because I started off as a photographer many years ago, and I've always been a photographer and I still am. But I found myself at a crossroads as it pertained to my business. And I had built this really successful photography business, and I had a lot of clients, and I had a lot of different type of clients, and I wanted to reach a more focused audience, and of course expand, right, increase revenue, and sort of take a look at other opportunities that I currently, or at the time currently, wasn't really able to sort of do myself. And so, like other entrepreneurs and small business owners, I hired a well-known marketing agency and thought that they would be the key to help me unlock my business to the next level, whatever that meant. And for all intents and purposes, they had the expertise, they had the reputation, they had results that they had delivered. So I took the plunge, and over the course of roughly 8 months, 6 to 8 months, I spent at the time almost $25,000, and that's a lot of money for any entrepreneur. It's a significant investment, especially myself as a solopreneur at the time. And again, this is about 50, I guess about 10 years ago. So just to sort of timestamp that. And what I was expecting from them was a customizable, tailored solution that was geared towards me, my expertise, and my story, which I really didn't know at the time, and something that would really help me address some of the unique challenges that I was facing on my business. But what I got instead was just sort of a boilerplate cookie cutter approach that might have worked for other businesses, but it really wasn't aligned with my brand story, my vision, my goals, my ultimate message. And I didn't know that at the time. And they really just kind of handed me this one size fits all solution, and expected me to see the results. There was very little reporting, very little feedback, very little coaching. There just wasn't a lot of engagement with them. And I remember thinking at the time, there is this it? Like, is what I'm paying $25,000 for? This is going to help me skyrocket to the next level. And and there was sort of like this kind of ongoing frustration with everything that they were doing, because when I saw the content that they were putting out, what the stuff they were recommending at the early days of social media, the blogs they were putting out, they just felt so, there was just no personality to it. And so as the weeks went by and the results still failed to materialize, I realized that something was wrong with this approach. And despite multiple conversations with them and sort of me pleading for help, I couldn't get them to see that their approach wasn't designed for me. I was looking for something that I didn't actually know the term for at the time. Truthfully, I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I knew that I was looking for a branding and a marketing solution that not only resonated with me and really told my story, but would also connect with my audience and really sort of felt like a more personal approach. And so anyhow, so I just said, okay, we're done. I just can't work with it anymore. And that's when it hit me at the time that this agency, like other stories I'd heard from other small business owners, they weren't investing in my brand messaging. They were investing in whatever they thought their brand message was or their expertise, and they good at what they do to some extent. But they didn't really take the time to care about the heart of my business or the journey that I had taken personally to get to where I was, and the problem that I was solving in my business, and who was I, and who did I want to work with, and how did I tell that story. And they were just really focused on delivering this same unique solution to everyone, regardless of the nuances and the subtleties that made my brand unique. And I sounded like everybody else in all of the stuff that they put out. And I was like, that's just not me. So I needed to better understand branding. So I sort of went back to school, if you will, and really started diving into, and I had some minimal experience in branding. I'd worked in the corporate world on some projects, and of course I have a vast marketing background. And so I started to really take the time to dive headfirst into branding as sort of the foundation. Because what I realized early on is that in their sort of like stale content that they were putting out for me, there was no story, there was no like oomph to it, there was no soul to it. And I quickly realized that was the brand, that was the messaging, that was the story, that was the essence, that was the je ne sais quoi that was completely missing. And so I went back to school and learned everything I possibly could about marketing, branding, and the integration, and sort of how the two work hand in hand. And how do you first tell a story, how do you first build a foundation, how do you first establish all of the keystone elements that make your business your business. Why are you here? What's your North Star? Who is your avatar? Who do you work with? What problem do you solve? How are you uniquely qualified to do that as compared to everyone else? Like all the different pieces that really told my story. And furthermore, I really wanted to understand the psychology of branding and marketing, and how successful brands had implemented compelling brand messages that emotionally connected with people, and how to use that message to tell really deep lasting connections, and really start focusing on building relationships in my business, which I really didn't do early on, and I've talked about that before. And so for me, I just really wanted to understand branding and design and strategies, and how they matriculated and built raving fans, and then how you took that and connected that to your marketing strategy and digital media and social media and websites and SEO and all those things. And I started really kind of developing some core competencies around it, and I found like I was in love with this sort of stuff. And so I started teaching workshops, and to other photographers first, but then other small business owners caught on and heard about me. And so, I became the little branding expert that nobody had ever heard of before, but was really kind of starting to build this persona around who little old me being a thought leader in this space. And so it was a really cool journey for me, and it's kind of where I am today and why I do what I do today, because I discovered that branding is so much more than just aesthetics. A lot of people have this idea that branding is just a logo and a website, and it's mind blowing to me that it's not. It's literally everything that your customer thinks or sees or feels or tastes. It's everything you and your team, if you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, or a small business owner, it's all of the things that make up who you are. It's like the fabric of your business, and it's not a gimmick. It's at the core, it's about telling your story in a way that resonates with the people that you want to help. What problems do you solve for a very specific type of person or persons? And it's not a sales pitch. It's solving a problem for somebody and changing a perception of somebody, and building a connection and a relationship with somebody on a much deeper level. And branding is how you communicate who you are as a business. It's what you stand for. It's why your business exists. And so that's when I realized at that point in time, among a couple other things, that I didn't want to just grow my photography business. I realized that I wanted to build something bigger, and I wanted to help entrepreneurs get unstuck and find clarity and tell their brand story in a way that would resonate with their audience. I really felt empowered doing that, and seeing the light bulb click, and I wanted to start coaching people in this, because I've always been an athletic coach. So I thought, and I did a lot of education in my corporate experience. So I thought, how can I marry the two between coaching and education and workshops? And I was like, what I'm helping people do in a nutshell is build their personal brand. And so I sort of started looking at, how can I become a coach? How can I better myself in that arena? And then I started sort of picking up jobs that where I was actually helping other entrepreneurs and other photographers and other business owners and other small businesses really get crystal clear on their messaging first, create really compelling content around it. So I brought the old stuff from my photography background back into it, and I started like integrating strategy and messaging and content creation and video and photography, and then utilizing all of the tools at my disposal. And because I've been an entrepreneur for so many years, I have collected over the years a bedrock of amazing individuals who are now working with me in a collaborative capacity to help share my clients and my message. And so that's SEO, that's bloggers, that's copywriters, that's email funnel builders, website development team, social media managers. And so over all the years of my entrepreneurial life, I have collected all of these people and built this team around what we're doing. And now, our business is sort of like taking off, and it's really cool to sort of see. And I have a couple of insights. First of all, if you're a new entrepreneur, that took a lot of time and energy for me to figure that out. It didn't just happen overnight. So, bro, you got to have patience, but you also have to be nimble and adaptive and curious and continue to learn and take feedback and all those things. And it because I was able to do that finally, I got to this point where I'm now helping entrepreneurs find their voice. And one of the biggest problems that I see in that space now is that they often get caught up in the day-to-day hustle so much that they lose sight of their brand message. And they have this great product and this great service, but they're just like going straight into marketing and trying to share it with somebody, but they're not clear on it themselves. And so they sort of like start to trip over themselves. And so my job is I bring them back to that foundation, back to that basic, build the foundation like a home, build the foundation, and then start scaling up. And then as you scale up, that message gets more and more refined and more creative and clarified. And you start connecting with more and more people on that level. And before you know it, you have a business that's actually functional. So anyhow, that's how I got to where I am today. So that's it. That's all I got. So if you are looking for ways to clarify your message, crystallize what you do, how you do it, why you do it, the problem you solve, and then amplify that into a broader audience through marketing, then we can help you with that. And I really encourage you to give me a call, because me and my team would really love to dive into what you're doing and understand, why are you showing up in the world? Because you have a gift, you have a product, you have a service, you have something that you think is valuable. So how do we see that? How do we make sure that more people get access to that? Okay. Drop me a note, send me a reply, send me a DM. I would love to connect with you.